I've decided to enter this year's Sky Arts Landscape Artist of the Year, which means I need to create 3 landscape paintings by April the 11th, and I'm documenting my progress in these videos. So this video actually has 3 parts to it. The first part is the progress of one of my paintings, then I'll show you some of my surreal work, and then I'll give you a commissions update. I'm going to do the usual 10-minute timer with the chicken. In the reference photo, there doesn't look to be all that much difference between the tone in the foreground and the tone in the background. But if you look more closely, it is a little lighter. So what I'm actually going to do for that is I'm going to mix up some titanium white and some of the ultramarine blue. And then maybe a bit more. And then I'm also going to put in a little bit of the burnt umber. Okay, so we've got kind of a bluey grey now. And then having done that, I'm going to add a little bit of the cadmium yellow. Maybe a little bit more of the blue. Whoops, that was perhaps a bit much, but that's okay. And I'm going to use that as kind of the base colour for the background. All right, so we're just going to start by let's get a bit more water onto the brush so that we've got the paint reasonably fluid. And I'm going to apply this in a different way to the way I did for the sky. You can see that for the sky, if you remember yesterday, I kind of scumbled. Excuse me a moment. I kind of scumbled the paint across the page. But here I'm going to just apply the paint a little more smoothly. I'm not going to be too fussy about it, but in general I'm going to put the paint down nice and smoothly. And part of the reason for this is it can be in general a good thing to include regions of different texture in terms of the way you apply the paint within a painting. And again, what I'm looking to do initially is I'm just removing the white of the paper over the entirety of this region. And there's lots of things you can do with acrylics as well. You can use glazed mediums and things. I probably won't be getting into that with this particular painting. We'll just stick with the interactive acrylics because they are so adaptable. And when you're doing the 10 minutes a day thing, I think it's a good medium to use because it allows you to get a lot done in a short amount of time, which is obviously kind of the point of this video series and some of the other episodic tutorials or demos, whatever you want to call them, that I've done on the channel. So obviously this colour isn't particularly representative of the trying to make the paint stretch a bit further than I would normally because I'm running out of the colour on the palette, but I want to just try and block this in. So this colour isn't particularly representative of the colour in the landscape that we've got in our reference photo, but it's kind of a cool neutral colour, and you can see that it started to change already how the sky is looking when I've put that colour next to the sky. Okay, so it gives us a starting point. That's the idea. Now, having done this, we can now begin to add some highlights. Okay, so I'm just adding some white to this bluey grey colour, or what is left of it on the palette, and then we'll pick up a bit of the blue and a touch of the yellow, a little bit more blue. A touch of the yellow again. And so at the moment on the palette, that's looking like a pretty pale and boring green. We'll see what it looks like when we put it onto the paper, the painting. I'm going to spray just a little bit what I've done. Again, I don't mind the textural bubbles that creates if they If they end up drying into the paint, that's okay. So that's still looking pretty blue when I put it on here. So let's add a little bit more yellow just to warm things up a bit. Okay, so that's starting to look more like a green now. A nice subdued green though, which is what I want. And I'm just putting in that little patch of, there's some quite neatly hedged fields on this section of the hill down low. And so I'm just putting those in. Notice my brush strokes are following the contours of the hill. And I can extend that. I'm not going to copy too slavishly the landscape, but I want to get the essence of it. So I can extend some of that green here. Maybe even put a little bit up here on the brow of the hill. And because we're working wet in wet with the interactives, let's add a little bit more blue to that green. Because we're working with the interactives, we can kind of work quite quickly and blend into our first layer. So I need quite a lot more blue actually, and a little touch of the yellow, a bit more of the blue, just kind of, I'm going for a slightly darker bluey green. That's not too bad, it's not quite right, but it'll do for the moment. Okay, so we're just starting to introduce some variation in the tone and colour across the landscape. Now there's a patch of green on the right there which is a little warmer and brighter because I think the land's a little bit closer there. Difficult to see from the distance I'm looking at the screen from. I'm about 4 or 5 feet back. So we'll just, again, it's not quite the right colour, but for now that's going to be okay. Just introduce that. So then we've got under 5 minutes left now. So I once again, clean piece of paper towel. I'm just going to wipe off my brush. Not going to be too fussy about it. Doesn't matter if there's a bit of paint left on the bristles. Not for what I'm about to do. So I'm going to take some of the yellow and let's mix that up. Touch of the alizarin. And that's going to give me kind of a pale orange. I'm going to put some of that green in there. And I want a little bit more of the red. That's not too bad. So you can see I'm getting kind of a pale browny orange. And I'm going to, once again, let's spray the painting with water. So I'm going to introduce some of this colour to the landscape. Now, to be honest with you, that's a little bit too bright. So let's put a little bit of the alizarin in. I'm going to take a touch of the burnt umber as well, just to tone things down a bit, make it a little bit darker. Quick spray on the palette and a quick one across the painting as well. And that's a little bit more like it. So, again, I'm not getting too fussy, getting into any details here. It's just about trying to capture some of the colours that are appearing in the landscape at roughly the right tone, and then we can refine things at later stages in the painting. And once again, because I haven't fully cleaned my brush, you kind of need to be aware that how you put the brush down on the page will affect the colour you get. So if you put it down flat like that, you can drag through some of the lighter colour. You can get some interesting mixing effects. Now this region here, where I just inadvertently hit it with the brush, that's a little redder, so we can introduce some of that. And what we could do just in the last couple of minutes is start to okay, so time is up, but according to the timer it's actually gone off a minute early, so I'm going to actually just do a little bit more. So we can actually just drag, so that's a bit too big a line really, but we can just start to indicate where those fields are, just loosely. Perhaps put a little bit of darker colour up there. Let's get a bit of blue into the mixture. So I've just mixed some blue into that same red I was using here, and just going to introduce some of that. It's not quite blue enough. we can introduce a little bit of the darker tones into some key points within the landscape. Okay, so that's it done for stage 3. What I'll do tomorrow is I'll start to work on this foreground, and then if there's time I'll start to do a little bit of modelling on the horse as well. We'll see how it goes. Well, we've got a background established now to some extent, and I'm not sure it's quite as light and pale as I want it to be, but before I make that decision, I want to blast in some colour in the foreground. Now, in the reference, the grass that the horse is grazing on is really quite nice and green, but I'm going to come in and make it closer to a yellow. So this is pretty much just cad yellow light, but it does have a little bit of alizarin crimson in, and it's also got some tinting white in as well. Now, just before this dries too much, I just want to get a wet paper towel and lift off some of that yellow from the horse's legs. But it might require a little bit more of a little bit more brushwork. 1 second. Now that's not lifting off all that well, but not to worry, I can cover that with some white a little bit later on. So let's continue with this yellowy colour. We'll go for some pure cad yellow as well. So even in this section, still thinking about foreground and background, so it's kind of paler and a little bit more subdued back here, brighter and a slightly deeper colour as we come towards the viewer. And then we will just add a little bit of cerulean blue into the mix, just so that there is a little hint of green in the painting. Let's switch to my slightly bigger brush. Back to a bit of pure yellow, just to kill some of the white of the paper. And I think that started to bring things to life quite a bit. Now for the horse, I'm actually going with a fairly bold colour choice to begin with. So this is a pale purple mixed up with tinting white, cerulean blue, alizarin crimson, and yes, and that's it. And so I'm just going to use this as a base colour for the horse here, whose tail is showing through between the rear legs there. little hint of an ear. Now that's actually covering the burnt umber, more than I expected. But such is life. So let's grab a little bit of tinting white on the brush, and we'll mist that with water. And having put that purple down, we can then soften it and bring things back towards the white of the horse a little bit more. And then we can go lighter again with some more tinting white, so we can switch to a small filbert now. I'm just picking out some of the big shapes. I'm not worrying about detail or anything like that. At least not for the moment. And now a bit of burnt umber, cobalt blue, and that purple that I was using before. And we'll just pick out the beginnings of some shadows. So in some senses, I kind of undid the work I did early on, and I'm having to redo it now. But that happens sometimes. So there we go. And while we're here, I've got some dark green on my brush here, so I may as well just scumble in a bit of gorse. So this is mixed up with cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt umber, and some cadmium yellow light. So I'll just get rid of the last of the white paper. I'm going to use some of that on the long cast shadow that I've got there for the horse. And then we'll come in now with a mix of the cobalt blue and the cad yellow just come in on top of that dark colour. Obviously there's more work to do there, but that's sort of started to bring the painting together a little bit. And I've just mixed up a reddish orange from cad yellow and alizarin crimson. So I'm just going to brighten up some of this dried out undergrowth that we've got in the background. So I just thought I'd update you with some of the surreal paintings that I've got ongoing. You may remember from last week that I showed you a painting, watercolour painting, of an elongated belted Galloway, and this one has 2 white stripes. So since that video last week, I've just added some line work with my Unipin marker, which I feel has kind of brought the animal, obviously it's quirky and surreal and distorted, but that's deliberate, brought it to life. I've deliberately left the rear end just as the watercolour washes because I quite like the way that sort of fades into the sky. I've kept the reflections in the water of the 2 inverted guys in suits barely defined, and then I've just added some line work again with the same marker to add to the ripples on the water, and I'm going to trim that pretty much as shown on screen at the moment, as I mentioned I might well do last week. And then while I was digging that one out of the portfolio to show you, I came across this one, which is a work in progress. So it's another sea with a small wave breaking on the shore, inspired by a plein air study. Oh no, I don't think I did this one plein air actually, but it is inspired by Budleigh Salterton. And I've got a couple of cattle. So if you're a regular viewer, you'll know that I enjoy painting these weird cattle on the water paintings. I haven't taken these to full resolution yet. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to treat them. And then a few months ago, we were at Exmouth, and I happened to capture on camera a guy cycling his bicycle along the seafront. So I thought, well, that'd be kind of funny if somebody commutes by bicycle across the water to work and has to navigate these cattle, which also occupy the seaside. So that's another one on the go. And then this one's just, I might have shown you this one before on the channel, I don't remember, so apologies if this is a repeat. So this one is, I believe, a plein air study of a breaking wave at Budleigh Salterton again. And I really like this one actually. It's not particularly surreal, I suppose, but it's, I don't know, it's just got something about it. So I've been holding fire on adding animals and things. I may just leave that one exactly as it is, but obviously there's a little bit of a surreal twist in the sense that the colours are stretched massively and the mark making is far from representative, or far from, how can I put it, far from photorealistic, but I would say is still representative of what's going on there. So that's the surreal summary. Nope, I fibbed. I made a mistake. There's one more. So I also came across this one, another work in progress that I halted a while ago. So if you remember, I did a series of Landscape Artist of the Year inspired landscapes to kind of stretch my artistic muscles and do different scenes inspired by the TV show. This is one which was partly inspired by the reservoir in London. So we've got the tower blocks, and we've got some trees and the water and so on. There's a jetty here, and then I've got another belted Galloway, but the lines aren't quite right with this one. But he's arrived in the city, you see, so he's standing on the water, and he's looking out, and then my plan was to have some other cattle off in the distance, and the title would be something like, Welcome to the City, something like that. So that is the surreal summary. I think that's everything surreal wise for this week. And then I thought I'd give you another quick update with the commissioned farm animal drawings that I'm doing. So there's a little reminder of the finished belted Galloway. I've added some more pencil and some more ink to the Dexter. Just waiting to hear back on that, if that's going in the right direction or not. And then similarly with the Highland cattle, added some more pencils to that, just waiting to hear back. What else have we got? We've got some Boar Goats. This is just the initial drawing, so just waiting to hear whether the layout's okay and everything's good with the proportions and so on. So we got two adults and a little kid in the background. And then finally, just had the initial pencils for this badger-faced sheep with a ram in the background approved, so I can do some further work on that soon. So still enjoying putting this collection together, and I think that's everything for this week. I've now got, where are we? I've got about 10 days, I think, until the deadline of Landscape Artist of the Year, so I need to get cracking on the landscape paintings, finish the horse one, go back to that one from the city centre of Exeter, get going on that. I've got another one that I was inspired to paint the other day when I was at a filling station. And then I've got a fourth idea as well, but it just depends on how we go on time. So we'll see how everything goes. But thanks very much for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. There'll definitely be one next Sunday, and I'll try and put some up before then if I get the chance, but things are pretty busy. But either way, hope to see you again soon. Thanks again for watching.